everyone. The ladies who wrote coping rhymes for COVID times. I love that. It does rhyme. Anyway, so we have Amy. Amy, tell us about yourself.
Hi there. I'm excited to be here today. I'm Amy Regan and one of the authors of the book. I'm a first grade teacher in Hillsborough Township, and I am married with 2 children, just became a recent grandmother. And over COVID, my longtime friend, we got together and decided we wanted to do something special. So we wrote a book that we would hope to help kids, parents, caregivers, and lots of people across the board.
Yeah. Then we got Amy and Kelsey.
Hey, this is Karen and Kelsey. That's okay. People get Amy and I mixed up all the time since we were little. They always thought we were sisters, so that's perfect.
That's true.
We've even been asked if we were twins when we were little. So I'm Karen Pardonner, and this is my daughter Kelsey. And we are, yes, as you said, part of the team. It was definitely a team effort to write this book that, as Amy said, we hope will just be a real positive resource for people who are adjusting and dealing with the ever-changing landscape that is this COVID pandemic that everyone is experiencing. So I was a former educator that transitioned into the business world. We live here in Hunterdon County. And I'll let Kelsey tell a little bit about herself.
I'm Kelsey. I did a lot of the graphic art and the color art for the book. I am a graduate of the Savannah College of Art and Design. So a lot of the design skills to help kids with the book really came in handy.
Yeah, I would say that. Now, before we get into the book, you guys have a little bit of a long history together, if you will. So tell our viewers how you guys all know each other, besides the 2 of you are related.
Right. So I'll start and I'll let Amy pick up. Amy and I met when we were 3 years old. It was one of those, new neighborhoods that at one time had been a farm. So brand new neighborhood, and everybody really got to know each other, and it was very easy to just run across the street to each other's houses. And it started when we were 3 and has continued on ever since. It's been great, through college and other experiences. We've been able to always kind of pick up where we left off and just share in each other's, good times and bad.
Amy. I got Amy right this time. So, when writing this book, tell our viewers a little bit about some of the characters in the book, because there's someone who's extra special to all of you.
Right. So I've always had a love for poetry, and just in my own classroom, I love to sing and rhyme. And even though Karen's the musical one and really, really can sing, I don't credit myself with singing, but I do love to sing in my class and make up rhymes. In 2nd grade, we had a really, really wonderful teacher. Her name was Miss Abel. And everybody that had her just felt like she was the most beautiful person and best teacher ever. And when I would finish my work, she would tell me, go ahead and write. And I had a little folder. I still have it to this day. And it had the little green lined paper, and I would write poems. And some of them were just, the cat sat on the mat and chased the bat who wore a hat and then went after the rat. But Miss Abel just kept saying, they're wonderful, keep writing. And through my life, I've always gone back to writing, whether it's been through a death or a tough time. I've always had that outlet of writing. And even when it's been a happy time or the most stressful, I've always been able to bring poetry into it as an outlet. So when we were working on this book, and our editor said, it would be great if you could give that character, that teacher, a name. And she said, do you want it to be you as the teacher? And I became a grandmother this year, so I wanted to be the grandmother picture in the book. and, you know, put it in that way. And as Karen and I began the conversation, bouncing back and forth, it was a no-brainer that we wanted Miss Abel to be that teacher in that book, because she just meant so much to us, and she really inspired us. I mean, in the neighborhood that we grew up with, you know, I became a teacher. Karen was a teacher to begin with. We had one of our friends became the principal of the school in Ewing. The superintendent grew up in our neighborhood. Another superintendent is here in another neighboring township. So there were many, many educators, and anybody that mentions her name will all say, you know, what a great influence she had on us, you know, and always brought out the best. So she really had an influence and an impact on so many of us, you know, and as I teach my kids in my class, I hope that I always say, you know, that they'll follow their dreams and know that, you know, they can do anything. It took us a little bit longer, but I hope they'll follow their dreams as well.
So I'm going to say to all the teachers out there, thank you, because look what she, you know, Amy, who is a teacher who's impacting her children, but look how Miss Abel has empowered these two women. And
Our illustrator.
your illustrator.
Wade. Yes.
Was he also in your class?
He was not in our class, but he did have her as a teacher later on when she was married and became Mrs. Stoy. So he knows her as Mrs. Stoy. But he had her as well. Yes, our wonderful illustrator. Wade Forbes also grew up in Ewing with us. So our families were very close. I actually used to babysit him from the time he was 6 months old. It was just really fun to do a collaboration on this with this team effort.
COVID has affected everyone on the planet. You know, it really gets to me is the little guys, you know, they're, okay, as adults, we're processing this barely, you know, and we're older. But when you're small and you're little and you're being told these things, it's got to be scary, and their mindset. So you guys felt empowered to write this book. How does this book help a parent, a caregiver, a grandparent, an aunt, anyone really help kind of process and communicate with little guys like about what's going on to kind of make it feel like they're okay, it's safe and normal?
Yeah, that's a great question, April. And really, you know, kind of what you said when we were kind of brainstorming about this book, we really outlined a list of scenarios, a list of things that is either different for them or that they're experiencing. So just the at-home schooling, the not being able to get together physically with close friends or family, you know, learning something new. We just really kind of brainstormed so many things that, you know, we thought were really kind of different for the kids.
Yeah.
So each one of those became a focus for us, and you know, it was really amazing. I can't say enough about Amy's poetry skills, because we'd say, you know, we need something about the fact that, you know, parents are home now, that they're not going to the office, and she'd go, okay, wait a minute. All right, I got it. And then she'd rattle off that verse, you know. So it was really neat to be able to just kind of brainstorm those ideas, and then her poetry would just flow.
It was definitely a team effort, though, because, you know, we would be virtually discussing all this, and Wade would be at the same time trying to draw and listen and multitask, and then we would throw ideas out, and then Kelsey had a lot of the detail and the color that really brought it to life, you know, and Karen was the very fine-tuned research, bring it all together, wind beneath our wings, that really kept the drive going to keep things on a timeline and really fine-tune things. So it really was the way it fell into place. Even the way we came up with our editor was through a friend, and she was fabulous as well, because she dealt with poetry, you know, and the way that all fell into place just really, really worked out for us.
Yeah. I love this. And, you know, it even goes back to your childhood with your teacher. And you guys actually were able to give her a copy of the book. How special, that must have been an amazing moment.
It was very neat. And when we had the book, Karen, Kelsey, and I did deliver a copy to her. So it was a nice surprise.
And you have a really awesome website that gives these downloads and things to do for the kids, interactivity, and your journal. So tell us a little bit about your download.
So we have, as you said, some activity sheets that go along with the book. Some fun things. One is a scavenger hunt. I don't know how well everyone will be able to see a copy, but and the neat thing is it has the images as well. So for those early readers that are looking to identify things throughout the book, we wanted to, I remember reading books with my kids, and the story was important, but there were always fun little details on the page that they would look for too, whether it was a mouse or the color of someone's shoes that they liked. You never know what's going to resonate, with someone. So Kelsey gets a credit for finding ways to embed fun little things throughout the book. Once kind of the original illustrations were done, she found ways to put rainbows and hearts and butterflies, things throughout the book that just really added, a fun little touch to it, that were fun for things for them to look for throughout the book. We also have a word search that they can do. And part of, this whole experience, I think people have been doing a lot more cooking maybe than they had in the past.
Yeah.
So one of the things we included is a recipe for our s'more kindness cookie. So that's something fun that people can try at home too, as people are doing all kinds of different activities that they didn't always have time to do before when they were rushing around.
Rushing around is an understatement.
For sure. And, that's one of the things that we did hear people talk about, throughout this process. And even when we first kind of had the idea for the book and talking with people who were at home. And that's part of what spurred this on, is knowing that, gosh, I have an education background. I know my neighbors are both now trying to work from home with 3 kids that are 10 and under. And I can't say, send the kids over or let me come over for an hour. I mean, that was early, before people were wearing masks other than medical professionals, so it seemed like a book was kind of a safe way to be able to connect with people. You mentioned our journal, and I'll let Amy talk more about journaling, because I know that's near and dear to her heart.
I think, that one of the big things to remember, in talking about the journaling, is just that a strategy in all of this. Kids need strategies. I think adults need strategies to get through. And I think, adults are having a hard enough time. Kids are so resilient and they bounce back. I know, doing online learning right now, you see the beautiful faces of your students, and they're saying, I love school. I can't wait to get back. They're resilient. I think as adults, we're thinking, gee, look what they're missing, or look what's happening. And I think also just have a place to put their feelings. And it's a lifetime strategy. We go back to the old, writing a diary, but it's just giving them a place to put things, an outlet, people to find that silver lining that, yes, this pandemic has been a really hard, difficult thing. There's been sickness, there's been loss of jobs, there's been a lot of awful, terrible things. But our hope is that, families will read this and they'll say, you know what? Our kids are going to bounce back. They will go back to school. But in this time home, they've had time together as a family. They have eaten more meals together. Maybe they got to ride a bike with a parent that may be out of work or maybe home for a while. Maybe they wouldn't have had that extra time with the parent. How many of us say, our kids are older, but if we had that year or months to do over again and just have them home with us, how great would that be? Hey, hug them up, love them up, take this time. They'll be back to school soon enough, and there's that racing out of activities. But let's at least everybody try to get that silver lining in there.
I couldn't agree with you more. I journal myself, and it's so important to put your emotions down. It kind of helps you talk through the process with yourself to to help. It's very therapeutic, adults and for children. But then think about going back in time. You can go back to remember these things that you won't remember. That's why I like Facebook when they do your pictures from how many years ago.
Right. And we think we're never going to forget this experience, right? Because it's so unique.
Yeah.
But I think we will. And the neat thing is our journal has space for drawing pictures as well as writing. And for those that can't write, I encourage parents to write a caption for them. So as you said, years from now, when they look back, they'll have some words to kind of go with that, what was happening at the moment.
Now, Kelsey, you thought you were going to get out of this, didn't you? This whole process, you're young and you're out of college. What has this done for you as, it's kind of like a kickstart to your career, girl? Just saying.
It's been such a joy to work on something that has been so close to home, really close to the heart. Just growing up in a family of education, it feels like the same path. So it's been a great way to start. Absolutely.
I know, that's great. You already have a good resume started.
The book is available on Amazon. And then we even have a link on our website that'll take you directly to where it is on Amazon.
This is the book, and their website is Caring Kids Publishing. It looks like you guys have a future for possibly some more publications, but I loved it. I thought it hit home, and it got me a little teary-eyed too, because I'm the parent from the past where we were, we saw each other in the car on the way to the sports team and the baseball. And this is an opportunity for people to really sit down and appreciate family and dinner. Like how when I grew up. And you guys grew up. Not you, Kelsey. Anyway, so thank you guys so much for coming on to the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we're really excited to be donating a portion of the proceeds to Feeding America, because we realize that, food is a greater challenge now for many folks than it has been. And that can be a hindrance to a good education, not to mention, just daily health.
All right, everyone. Again, another great way to support local and, help your children understand what's going on and help them process it. Because remember, they're just the little brains that are maturing and developing. So this is a positive way to show them that it's okay and we're all in this together. So again, thanks everyone for watching New Jersey Buzz Local. If you like this, please share and like this post. Why? Because it's important.